mean, I'm not going back to MMA right now because I'm happy with myself. I'm going back to MMA right now because I've given up on too many dreams. I'm going back to MMA right now because I can't let any more time pass by of me thinking I could have done something or having excuses, because if there's something that I hate is people that make fucking excuses, and for too long I made excuses. I it's like a way, like I said, it's a way of chasing self-improvement. That's where the self-improvement comes in. Is that, yes, I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't proud of who the fuck I was. I wasn't. And sometimes I'm still not. But I'm in there working. And I'm trying to get better.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Kickin podcast with Rex. To support it, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on the video. And don't forget to stop by the store on your way out in the description to pick up a coffee mug, t-shirt, hoodie, or sticker as a gift for yourself or to support the fighter in your life. Thank you for tuning in. The following is a conversation with Armando. He is my Jiu Jitsu coach and also one of the first people that I ever met when I moved down to Tampa, Florida. The following conversation, we discussed things about life, about chasing after things that you want, your dreams, and what it means to progress in life, and real life self-defense scenarios. There is a lot that can be taken from martial arts and things that can only be learned in places like on the mat, which is perseverance, being smashed all the time and not giving up, because in life you're going to get beat down more times than you aren't. And it's not about how hard you can get hit, and it's not about how hard you get smashed. It's about how hard you get smashed and that you decide to get back up and keep moving forward. This is true in Jiu Jitsu, in Muay Thai, MMA, and in life. Because you're always going to find times where you're on top, but you're also going to have a lot of times where you're on the bottom and you're getting crushed. Armando is my coach and a very dear friend of mine, and I've learned a lot from him, not just about grappling and martial arts, but just about life itself and just going through the tough times. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. Armando is a bright individual with an amazing heart and a huge gift to give to the world. Thank you all for tuning in, and this is Armando. What up, Armando?
What's up, Rex?
What's going on, brother?
Welcome.
Welcome back, actually. So,
thank you.
Yeah. So you were actually my first guest ever. When I started podcasting, you were number one.
Yep.
And I only thought it fair that after 1 year of this whole mess that I call a podcast, that I bring you back on for a proper conversation, because last time it was, we were standing there, I had like the camera in one hand. Actually, no. The first attempt, I left my cameras at home, drove half an hour all the way to your house, and without my cameras.
Yeah. That was funny.
And then the second time, we're just standing around in like a room full of lizards, and I'm like trying to have a conversation, and I'm trying to take in everything around me.
Zeus was scratching in the background too, one of the tortoises.
Yeah. And then Lewis comes in out of nowhere and gets like bit by the
iguana.
By the iguana.
Bleeding everywhere.
Gotcha. Awesome. How you doing, brother?
Good.
Awesome, man. So thank you again for coming back on and doing this all the time, sure. Because you've been like an inspiration to me since the day I met you in multiple ways. A, because you're a ridiculously good grappler.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Like not just jiu-jitsu, but like you're like, because jiu-jitsu is like defensive. But you're also like very offensive with your wrestling background as well. Yeah. So you're like a very complete package.
Thank you.
And I've never like grappled anyone like you before. Because my experience is so extensive. It is. But you also like the fact that you have like a strong passion for like animals, and you have like over like 1,000 lizards and snakes and turtles in your house.
Oh yeah.
And like you run like a YouTube channel and building a whole like online brand around it as well. And you've been, and I want to say thank you because seeing you do all that helps me to continue to keep this podcast running, because like seeing just other fellow hustlers continue to hustle, and like it's easy to look at someone when they're on like when they have like 1 million subscribers and like dang I can't get there, but like when you meet other people who are like we're in like the same place and we're like fighting that struggle together, like it really means a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, of course, man.
Okay. All right, podcast over. All right. No, but all right, so I guess we'll start with the obvious one, you know, your Jiu Jitsu career, your martial arts career. So you've been doing this for martial arts for how long now?
I count when I started wrestling. So I started wrestling when I was 14, so going on 13 years now.
13 years.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a martial artist?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Oh, we should have prepared for that one ahead of time. What does it mean to be a martial artist? Oh gosh, that's a lot of things. Well, first, before even like anything else, is in the way you carry yourself. I feel like you know you gotta have a lot of respect and treat people the right way and things like that. It's not about showing off and being like kind of boastful about what you could do and things like that. Actually, today, I'm sorry, I'm already going on a tangent.
No, go ahead.
Today, I was doing my little CrossFit training I've been doing with this lady, Marissa. And this guy was walking by and he was talking about that we looked strong or something. But he started joking that he would rather fight me first and then her, because he said she looked more scary because she's all like jacked and stuff like that. And I was laughing and I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably like a safer bet or whatever, you know. And I was just joking, but you know, I didn't feel the need to be like, oh, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu and things like that. Whatever, I'm a friendly guy, so I think that's part of it, is having good character and treating people the right way is a big part of it. That I would like to start with that part first, because a lot of people have good skills, but they're not necessarily, don't treat people the right way and stuff like that. And then after that is just training, showing up and training and doing what you got to do. Training and doing what you got to do, and you know, showing up. It's not always gonna be easy. Some days it's gonna be tough, and always getting better. There's always something to get better at. I'm still trying to get better right now. I'm trying to do this CrossFit training now to make me stronger. I'm trying to like focus on my diet better, because those are also parts of being a martial artist, where sometimes even I slack off myself. So I'm trying to work on that. It's like constant self-improvement.
So I noticed two things about your answer stuck out to me, and I want to dive deeper into those. The first one is that you started with character and development of self first, and you seemed very, very passionate about that, about leading with that. Like that was intentional.
Yeah, for sure.
And the second thing is you mentioned very, very little about. Actually, you didn't even mention like technique or anything at all. Interesting. So let's start with the first one. Why is the character so important? Why is it? Why did you lead with that?
That's the most important part for me, because I feel that a lot of people don't know how to treat each other anymore. And even before I was a martial artist, I just grew up being told to respect everybody and things like that. And I grew up in that type of environment. And so when it comes to martial arts, like I feel someone that is like a black belt or someone's high ranking in martial arts that people look up to, you should be someone you can look up to on and off the mat. You should be able to look at that person in any type of situation and have something to look up to in that type of scenario. Like my coach Lane there's so many different things that he does, and I'm like, I look at that and I'm like, wow, I like how you handled that situation or something like that. It would tell me like something with his kids, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I understand. I like that. And there's certain people, like obviously not to name names, but there's certain people that are black belts, especially in Jiu Jitsu these days, that are black belts and they're just jerks. I don't know how a nice way to put it, you know. They don't treat people right and stuff like that. And so that's something that bothers me. I don't like that. And
what do they do?
oh man.
We're not naming names here.
Let's see. People that just want to act too much like tough guys all the time and kind of be more so like bullies instead of like people are trying to like care about people and help each other. Like I'm a martial artist, and like you said, I brought that up first because that's what I do this for, is because like I was shy. I was very quiet and reserved and scared of like if something would happen. Except for I was little, I was scared of like if something would happen, could I take care of my sisters, my mom, things like that. And I always wanted to be a martial artist for that reason. And it taught me. My mom used to tell me all the time, and I'm doing it now because of the camera, makes me nervous, but I'm looking down a lot. My mom used to get upset with me a lot because I would walk just looking at the ground and stuff because I'm very shy. And like, it wasn't until like I started wrestling and doing all these things that like I started to really carry myself more like in less of a shy manner, and I started to open up more and talk to people. And that helped me to want to be able to help other people and to get better, like in the same way that I did. I'm so sorry that I'm not wording this well.
No. This is your story, like, and only you can tell it. So yeah. I can't tell your story.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of people that might be like athletically gifted or whatever, and they might advance quicker than others. But at the end of the day, like, I care about how much have you grown like as a person while you've been here. Because if you're just like being insane, doing what you want to do, like you can be a monster. Okay, you're strong, you're a monster, cool. But how do you treat your guys? You treat them like crap? That doesn't say a lot about you. You know, that's not a good person. That's not someone people want to train with and be around and stuff like that. So it matters the way that you treat people. I think like, I mean, I'm not always great, so I have my off days, but for the most part I try to treat all of you guys like my brothers. I love you guys a lot. So I know everybody's not gonna be that way, but ideally I wish that all instructors would be that way.
No, for sure. No, and it definitely comes out like with the way that you run your class. Like you make it whenever there's someone new in class, you go out of your way to make sure you pair them with someone who's not gonna squish them, and you do create it's a very rough environment that we have.
It's interesting because it's interesting. It's like a tough love kind of thing, but it's love for sure. And I think that shows though, because if it was only like tough and just like so I like wrestled and stuff, so I went from that and wrestling in college a little bit to coaching Jiu Jitsu. And I'm like trying to coach my class like it's a college wrestling class. Like we're gonna shadow wrestle, we're gonna drill, we're gonna freaking do all this wrestling and stuff, and it's gonna be like tough. And it took me time. Like I feel like now we got like a good balance. Sometimes we have a lighter day, sometimes we drill more. Some days when it's time for a tournament, you know, we're gonna work harder. But I don't force anyone to go. You can sit out when you need to sit out. If you're competing, then that you made that choice to compete. You're gonna work hard and you're gonna do every round. But normally the people that are competing, I don't have to force them to do a round. They're gonna do the round. So I try to keep it still like friendly, you know. I'm you guys as coaches, but I'm also like I want to be considered also like I consider you guys brothers. I want the same thing back. I don't want to be like something different. Like I don't like that.
It's interesting because I've talked to a few coaches of various disciplines, not just like Jiu Jitsu, not just Muay Thai, but like CrossFit and other things as well. And I've heard both arguments of it's good to form a strong bond of brotherhood with the people you're coaching. And I've also heard the opposite argument of you need to keep a very specific barrier, like clearly define the roles of, hey, I'm your coach, but I'm not your friend. I'm here to help you improve, but I'm not your friend. So I was wondering if you could speak on that a little bit from your perspective, your experience. You've been doing this for a couple years.
I mean, it might change one day, but I'm going to be 27. I've been coaching since I was 18. I started coaching wrestling. So for me, even because, like I said, I started coaching wrestling when I was 18. I was coaching kids. So I still related to the kids. I was having fun. That was like my way of coaching. I just like related to them. And then eventually I did hit a point though with them where I was like, oh, these kids look at me as an old guy now. They don't look at me as someone like their friend. Like my first few years, those kids, we were very much friends. We wrestled, everything.
When you were 18?
Yeah. And then like as I'm like 21, 22, I started realizing like these kids would like think I'm an adult now, like, you know, I'm different. And it started to be weird and like, you know, and I'm like, oh shoot. So I don't know, maybe something like that might happen one day where I realize like one day maybe I'm like 40 and like I got like new jacks coming in that are 19 or 17 and stuff, and maybe by then I'll feel like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm not your friend. But I don't think so, because Lane, my coach, is I don't know if I should be giving his age out. Lane is older
I'll bleep
than me.
I'll bleep it out.
Lane's 20 years older than me, so you know, he's got some age on me, but we're friends. Like we talk, like he's my coach. I respect him. Like I have a lot of issues like with that type of stuff, like respecting like authority figures. That's a different story, but Lane, I respect this man. That's why I've been able to stick with him for so long, and he but he's like that. He loves us. Like I know he loves me. Like without a doubt, I don't question that. And so I don't think that goes away. I think that's who you are. I think some people, because obviously a gym is a business, yes, but it's also it's a personal thing. Like I don't get to do my passion every day if you guys don't come and support my gym. And if I've been to gyms where I felt that I was just another person in there, another number. I would hear the way that they spoke to certain people I was friends with that were fighting, that were a little bit older than me, that were already fighting, they were doing what I wanted to do. And I would hear the way that they were spoken to and coached, and I was like, I don't like that. It wasn't for me. But like when I'm with Lane, like he, like before a fight or something, like he's always like, I love you, like doesn't matter what happens, like I'm gonna be here no matter what. And I mean, I know that by now. I don't need, you know, to hear that, but he still does it. Like he does it because he does. That's how he feels. And I do the same thing. Like I'm like hugging my guys, and I'm like trying to get in there with them and stuff. So yeah, I don't think that'll go away for me. But then there's, you know, there's people that are just super, just it's a business, and they just want the most numbers and the most students, and they'll start pumping out belts. Oh, there's jiu-jitsu gyms now that want to just pump out belts and don't care about the quality and stuff like that.
Yeah, we discussed that.
But yeah, so yeah, oh, that's a whole different, yeah, bro. But yeah, I think it goes down to your personality. I'm a caring person, just generally. That's just me. I want to help and do what I can. So that's just who I am. Like, it's not to be all extra like goody, but I went to like the gas station yesterday to get a drink, and this guy like stopped me to ask for something, and I did the normal thing, like I don't have any cash on me, and he's like, I just want a coffee. And I don't know how much money I had in my account. I didn't get paid yet. And I'm like, okay, I probably got enough for a coffee. And so we go inside, I get my drink, and I get him a coffee. And I mean, that was it, you know? But that's just the type of person that I am. Like, even if I got $2 left and this guy asks me to help him out, I'll give him one of my dollars and go do what I can with my other dollar.
This is very interesting to listen to, because the story that you're painting right now of you, yourself, your martial arts journey is that of a tremendously compassionate, caring, loving, honoring individual. You know, it's part of your value system, and having known you for a few years, like I see it, I sense it.
Yeah,
but
I appreciate that.
And then but the narrative that gets painted around like martial artists is like, we're a bunch of like roided out motherfuckers who are just trying to like beat the crap out of everybody. So it's like, so I guess my follow-up question to all of this is, can someone be a martial artist while lacking the respect part of their value set?
Unfortunately. Unfortunately to other people. Cause, oh man, I'm no one to talk about anybody, but I mean, you know, there's definitely people that I feel are not as respectful as they could be and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm not talking about like UFC fighters. That's they're putting on a performance.
Yeah. No, that's a character.
Thing. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. I'm talking about like a local black belt, guys like that, stuff like that. I'm talking about like local guys that think they're something.
Respect me because of the piece of cloth I have around my waist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, and just even as a competitor, I mean, I've gone against certain guys where like, okay, you're good, but I mean, do you really have to be an asshole like that? Like,
yeah.
You know, I had a match one time, and I mean, I apologized afterwards. I don't think I should have reacted that way, but I was getting choked, and I tapped out. I clearly tapped out, and this kid keeps on squeezing away on my neck, and he's a college wrestler still, and he thinks he's tough, and I'm like, you didn't feel me tap? And he's like, oh, I don't let go until the referees. And I'm like, you have a point. But I'm on my knees, like clearly tapping out, like, let me go, man. I don't care that much. I tapped out, like, you know? That's not, I'm not there to get hurt and stuff like that. That's the one thing I hate. I hate trying to hurt people. And I mean, sometimes maybe that's a fault on my end as a competitor, but like, I'm like even compassionate in the match. Like, I'm like, oh man, this guy can't breathe. Let me give him a breath real quick. And then, boom, now he gets away from me, and now I can't breathe, but he don't care. You know? This
is interesting because, you know Bobby, right?
Yeah.
So when I had him on the podcast, we were talking about one of the things to like, not just be like a fighter, but to like excel at a fighter, like to get that pro contract, to become like top 5 or whatever. You kind of need to tap into like a really dark place in order to really be able to hurt someone, because like anybody can throw a punch, but to throw like a punch with the intention of like knocking somebody out like requires a very dark mentality.
I consider, so again, I don't know if this is wrong, but when I feel like when I'm going to an MMA fight, when I'm going to a Jiu Jitsu match, it feels different. So I'm going to a Jiu Jitsu match, I want to compete, but it's like there's to a certain extent of where the level's gonna go. Like, I'm gonna be aggressive within that rule set, but there's like still like there's a cap. Like, we're going to this point.
You cap your aggression.
But like in a MMA fight, like I'm still aggressive. I'm going to hurt you. I'm like, I may lose, but I'm going to hurt you. Like, I love you. I will give you a hug and a kiss on the cheek probably afterwards. But in that match, my head is ramming into you nonstop. I'm shooting at you nonstop. I'm trying to run you off the mat. Anything I can. But totally lost my train of thought thinking about all of that. But in an MMA fight, it's a little bit different. An MMA fight, like, you're gonna get hurt way worse.
Yes.
you're gonna get hurt way worse. So like, it's like I have to hurt you before you hurt me, and it's a different mindset. It's a different thing. Like, when I do jiu-jitsu, I have like an issue every time with starting too slow. Like, I'm like chilling, I'm like too relaxed. But when I fought MMA, like I like sprinted across the cage and punched him in his face as fast as I could, because I'm like it's too much. Just ran across, ping ping, done, because it's too much.
So do you tap into that dark place? Are you able to?
It's there. It's there. I choose to be nice. I'm not saying I'm not insane, Rex. Because now I'm saying it's like I'm going too much. I am. I have my issues.
Yeah.
And whether or not that presents itself in a match is something that needs to be controlled. I used to be super emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that needs to be controlled. Sometimes I used to feel like, so, all right, when I started wrestling, I guess I say things in a nice way because I want it to sound nice. But, I mean, I didn't like myself. I was a fat kid. I didn't feel like I was gonna be good enough to like play football. I didn't make the basketball team, and I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. I felt like I sucked at everything. I felt like I sucked at everything. And when I wrestled, man, I sucked too. But I liked it, and I wanted to get better at it. And I didn't like, my first time I ever wrestled, I got like tossed by this guy outside. Like, he flipped the shit out of me and it hurt, and I quit and I didn't want to do it. And it bothered me. It bothered me to walk past and they were training and I wasn't in there, and I wanted to be able to beat him. And so I just went in there and I kept on and I started training until I could. And so yeah, I mean, of course, I don't think you do this stuff because you're okay. I think I just do that. I just do that to feel better, to not always live in that, because I used to always live in that. So, you know, I think I suppress that a lot. And I'll like overly be happy because I don't want to be sad. Yeah. So, for sure. And I mean, I'm not going back to MMA right now because I'm happy with myself. I'm going back to MMA right now because I've given up on too many dreams. I'm going back to MMA right now because I can't let any more time pass by of me thinking I could have done something or having excuses, because if there's something that I hate is people that make fucking excuses, and for too long I made excuses. I had an excuse of the last time I lost, I was married. I had a woman that she was crying. I felt horrible. I didn't like the feeling of someone that I thought cared about me being hurt because of me doing a sport. And it was a lot. I couldn't do it. And I don't want this to be the point of the conversation, but obviously that person's not around anymore. And it is what it is, but now there's no excuse to not go for it, other than the fact that it is scary. I've been dealing a lot with anxiety, I have matches where I feel like I'm gonna die. And there was a time where I thrived on that, where the feeling of like, I feel like my lungs are gonna explode, but I'm gonna keep going until you break first. I used to thrive on that. And at some point, I don't know what happened. But at some point, I got too much anxiety, and I started feeling like I'm gonna die. And I'm working on that though. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Fuck. You know, it is there, bro. It is there. There's a lot of things, man. Simple things too. I remember being a kid and my mom would be like, things like that. My sister could beat me in a fight and stuff like that. Like little things like that where I'm like, I felt really like she was just being rude and disrespectful and calling me soft and stuff like that, which has been a common thing throughout my life. But at this point, I like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm soft. Sure. Throw them on their heads, choke them out, you know. I like that people underestimate me now. But yeah, man. Yeah. You know, I it's like a way, like I said, it's a way of chasing self-improvement. That's where the self-improvement comes in. Is that, yes, I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't proud of who the fuck I was. I wasn't. And sometimes I'm still not. But I'm in there working. And I'm trying to get better. And that's where, like, that's what I'm saying, that like the self-improvement and who you are matters a lot. And having that discipline to keep on showing up, because I mean, life happens. Life's not easy. I know everybody goes through stuff, and that's another way where I'm different as a coach, man. I come in and I tell you guys what's up. I'm like, I'm having a rough day today, guys. You know, whatever happened, but we're gonna get through it. And I know everybody else is like, oh, we gotta leave it at the door and blah blah blah. We come in, no. Sometimes we have to talk about it. Sometimes there's no ignore it for that. Sometimes I need that. Otherwise, I'm gonna be fucking tearing up the whole class and in the corner, and everybody's gonna be confused. But I could just come in and real quick before warm-ups, hey, I'm freaking the fuck out. I've done it plenty of times. Yeah. All of you know it. And certain friends of mine will freak out. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you talk to your people that way. And I'm like, those guys are my brothers. You don't understand. They're my brothers. Like, it's not a normal thing. It's not. We're a different group. I say that a lot. And I know a lot of gyms, and I know we're like a subset. We're just our own little group. But I know a lot of gyms and people say like, oh, it's a family, but no, it's like legit. Like, I will fuck people up for you guys. It's a real thing. Like, you know, it's different. But I know Lay's the same way, man. Lay's the same way. So, you know, I got all snot-nosed and stuff. I apologize. It's all good. Yeah. It's all good. It'll be fine. I'm just gonna have boogers in the podcast.
So I feel like I feel like there's two. They say that there's two types of people who become martial artists. The first one are the ones that got their ass kicked a lot growing up.
Yeah.
And the second one are the ones who sucked at other sports.
Yeah. I was both. I was both, to be real with you, man. I got a lot of ass whoopings, and I have so many memories of kids beating me up and me just not stopping, and these kids just getting tired of whooping my ass to the point where I started getting them finally, because they got just so tired, and I would not quit. I'd be bleeding, torn up. And I would not quit, and I would keep coming back and fighting these kids until they just eventually I'd get a couple hits or I'd get something to where I'm like, I got enough now. I'm going home. Cause oh man, yeah, no, it happened a lot of times, and I wanted to be able to beat their ass, literally, like, and oh man, and I don't know if that's bad. That might be bad, but I feel like that's probably bad. But like to me, like it bothers me to have my ass kicked by somebody, to know somebody can kick my ass, like. In a competition setting, like it doesn't matter. It's a sport. It's a game. But it, like, growing up, I did not like that feeling. I did not like for someone to like beat me up. Like a kid, like my little sister was 3 years younger than me, and like one time a kid was picking on her. We're in elementary school, but I went and I confronted the kid and I, said something to him or whatever, and the situation was done. But if that kid would have beat my ass, I would have been very upset. I'd have been very upset because I went to defend my sister and I got my ass beat. No, I'd have been upset. So I don't like that feeling of not being able to defend myself. And to me, I think that's normal. I'm pretty sure that's a normal, natural feeling that you should feel as a person. I'm not even gonna say as a man. As a human being, I feel like that's a natural urge to have, even though people now make it seem like that's a bad thing, as toxic or something. That's how I feel.
I don't understand.
It's gonna come off. It's like people are like, oh, he's so toxic. No, it's not toxic. That's a human instinct I feel you should have.
Yeah, I know.
We're monkeys. Sorry, but we are.
No, I agree with you. I don't understand those people who say,
yeah, it's natural. I started wrestling when I was 14, but I've been wrestling my whole life with my stepdad, with his friends, with my friends, anybody. I've been wrestling my whole life. Just messing around, wrestling, putting people in a full Nelson. My move when I was a kid, I'd get a full Nelson, headbutts to the back of the head. Boom, boom, boom. It's the reason I'm not right.
Right.
I've been fighting with my head since I was little, man. It's my style.
You should try lift weight.
I fight with my head. Oh, I seen that before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've done too much already.
Yeah.
I try to headbutt and knock myself out.
Any martial art that allows headbutts is what I'm staying away from.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
Hey, my coach Lane thinks they should go back to no time limits, bring the headbutts back, all that.
to UFC 1, no biting, biting and no eye gouging.
He's like, oh, you guys are new fans, and I'm like, what? And like, I'm trying to think of how long I've been watching UFC. I'm like, I've got like 15, 18 years watching UFC. And then he's like, yeah, I quit watching when they put rounds in. Damn, man.
That was like, what, UFC 5?
Yeah, he's like, I quit watching when they put rounds in, man. It's not a real fight anymore. I'm like, ooh, okay, Lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nah, Lane's definitely hardcore like that.
Well, he fought like Vale Tudo and stuff like that.
Shit.
So yeah, he fought when you could win by the old dick twist.
All right, so all right, so there's one thing that you brought up about like a good 12 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We talked about like the belts. And there's a lot of controversy about belts in general, and we've sort of pseudo discussed it via Instagram group chat by posting videos. We've never actually discussed it in person.
Yeah.
So here's what I want you to do for me right now. We're gonna start with why are belts a good thing, and then why are belts a bad thing, and then how you feel about them.
Okay. Can I start the other way?
All right. Why are belts a bad thing?
Okay.
Why are belts a good thing? And then how you feel about them.
Okay.
We're ending with how you feel about them.
So belts are a bad thing because it's a very subjective thing, as much as people try to make it objective, where it's like, we have these requirements, blah blah blah, this, or some places this amount of classes, whatever horrible gym that might be, and then and you know,
I got shady in here.
You know what I'm saying? So it depends on whatever the requirement is, but at the same time it's very subjective, and like each belt is not the same. It doesn't mean the same. Like, I'm a brown belt, yeah, but there's other brown belts that will fuck me up. Mm-hmm. There's purple belts that will beat my ass. There's probably blue belt. There's probably some 16-year-old, 15-year-old green belt. They'll tie me up in a knot in my gi and send me back to you guys and tell you I suck. Probably.
Yeah, it's normal.
But I can't compare myself to that kid. Just like there's old black belts that if you put a foot lock on them, they don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do with it. So, you know, it changes, and I feel like it's tough because it makes people compare themselves, and you can't compare yourself, and it's like comparing apples to oranges to bananas, and it doesn't make sense, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what's good about it is, yeah, it's a little bit motivating. You kind of have something to look towards and to work for, kind of like, you know, a little carrot along the way or whatever. People like that, especially people that don't have like the self-motivation to get, because I come from wrestling, there's no belt.
Yeah.
So people that don't have a self-motivation to just be better, it gives them something to see that, okay, and some people are like, what's that called, like qualitative, like that, like people need to see like this type of progression, and so it gives them that, and if you look at it properly, then that's your journey, that's your self-progression. My white belt wasn't your white belt, wasn't Jack's white belt, wasn't anyone else's white belt. I came in, I've been watching MMA my whole life. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wasn't training the whole time, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I started wrestling because of that. I started Jiu Jitsu because of that. So when I started Jiu Jitsu, it wasn't totally like, what's a triangle, what's an armbar. I hadn't done it, but I seen it plenty of times. I'd been wrestling, and I was mentally like ready to go. So I jumped right into it, and I was able to roll, and I was able to do really good. But not everybody on their first day is going to jump right in and roll and everything like that. So it's different. But you know where you started, and you know where you've come. And that's where you can start to kind of gauge what's going on. And then how do I feel about it? The way that I feel about it is, I guess I kind of already said that, but I feel there's people that think that we should just go to no belts at all, like wrestling and everything, sambo and stuff like that. I could appreciate that. I could see that, because that is going to take that part away of like kind of the ego thing and comparing and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're humans, and we're still going to compare ourselves no matter what. Yeah. So you could take the belt away, but we're still going to have that. So why change it? You know, I think people just got to understand what it is, like, you know, and that's where I said it's your self-progression. How much have you grown? That's something I had to learn too. Like, I used to do the same. Man, I roll this guy up, I this and that, and it's a joke now. I'm embarrassed about it, but I used to I wasn't doing it. Why did I bring this up? I used to look at my coach a lot while I was rolling, and like I'd like do something to like a blue belt or a purple belt, and I'd be like, just
notice me,
you know, just like that. And it wasn't from a bad place. It was just me being me. Like, I was like just like teacher's pet to the max. So it's just me being like, I learned what you showed, like I'm doing what you showed. Like I wasn't trying to be like an asshole, but I mean, I guess the teacher's pet always kind of comes off as an asshole somehow. But yeah, so that's kind of how I guess I was. I lost my train of thought. I apologize, Rex.
We're talking about belts and your feelings about them.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I keep getting distracted with this stuff out here.
No, it's a beautiful scene out there.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's why I chose this one.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Okay, so yes, you measure your own self-progression and get better that way, you know, because it means so much to get a belt, man. So it's easy to be like, oh, get rid of the belt, but it takes away a lot of the meaning, man, the sentimental value. Like, I work hard for that belt, and I learned a lot of lessons for each of those belts. I get guys that come in, they had whatever certain experience they might have had, and they come in and they tell me that they're a blue belt. And I'm like, you're a blue belt? And they're like, I mean, at least a blue belt. Like, I got blue belt level. Like, I mean, I never got promoted to a blue belt. And I'm like, oh, well, like, what makes you think you're like a blue? Like, how long have you trained or what? And I'm like, oh, I mean, I got wrestling experience. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I don't say nothing. I don't want to bring anybody down. I'm not that type of person. But I'm gonna let a blue belt show you what they do, you know. So I'll have a class where a blue belt comes to visit from South Tampa, and this blue belt freaking puts on a show on these guys, and then they're like, oh, maybe I'm not a blue belt. maybe he has a point, you know. And again, that there's different aspects in that. They could be that guy's a more competitive and this guy's a hot. There's obviously, yes, we get that. But we have a competitive group, so you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. And it taught me to also to trust more in my coach and stuff like that. That he understands what's going on, and that he cares, because my coach, I used to get upset because there's certain people that started training around the time when I was training at certain other gyms that they got to black belt and I was purple belt still. Mm-hmm. And I was sad about that and I was frustrated, but I compete a lot all the time. And so, like, I wasn't by any means like sandbagging, because I get my ass kicked a lot, so I wasn't sandbagging. But you know, it was also, he wasn't rushing me either. There's two extremes. There's like sandbagging, and then there's people that promote way too quick.
I feel like that one's worse.
Exactly. It is worse, and that's what he always told me. I'd rather to have a blue belt that can hold his own against brown, purple, black belts, mm-hmm. and be decent than to have a purple or a brown belt who's getting ran over by blue belts. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. I get that. Because since I was a blue belt, we'd get visitors that come in different belt ranks and different people like that, and I would roll well with them, and I'd be like on their ass, and I'm like, whoa, where are you from again? You know, our association's fucking, I mean, it's not just because it's our association, but I mean, they're tough, man. Yeah. If I roll with a purple belt, it's rare that, I mean, I can't say that I ever have rolled with a purple belt in our association and it's been an easy roll. It's just not happened. It doesn't happen. Not that I've ever seen. I mean, we're not the best in the world, but I mean, you know, I feel like we have a decent standard. That's where I try to say, like I try to give the general idea, and I might have gone out of order. I apologize, but like white belt, you know, going to get smashed. That's the point of white belt. That's the point of white belt. And people don't like to say it, but in wrestling, there's a weeding out process. In any sport, there's a weeding out process. That's called conditioning. Mm-hmm. You start with conditioning before you even do the sport.
Yeah.
You're running every fucking day.
Suicides. Push-ups,
this, that, whatever. Because they're going to see who's going to quit. Who's not going to be there. Because I'm not going to waste time on you anyway. Mm-hmm. There's a narrative in Jiu Jitsu that anyone could get to black belt. That Jiu Jitsu is for everybody. Right? That's what they like. Jiu Jitsu is for everybody. But it's not. You got to be real. At the end of the day, it's not. It can be. Mm-hmm. It can be if everybody wants it to be for them, but not everybody wants it to be for them. Because the white belt's survival. You have to survive. If you don't fucking learn to survive, you're not going to learn anything else. And I get white belts come in, they want private lessons because they're getting smashed. And they want to learn to not get smashed.
But getting smashed is the private lesson.
Getting smashed is teaching you everything. You're learning. You have to learn to settle down and to understand. And through drilling, you're gonna learn what they're doing to you, and that's gonna help you. But me giving you a private okay, I'm gonna teach you a couple of things, yeah, here and there. But especially brand new people, the most I can teach them is how to move, how to shrimp, how to do these things. There's no magic bullet I'm gonna be able to give you to solve jiu-jitsu. It's not gonna happen. It just takes time. So white belt survival. White belt is a weeding out process. Each belt is like you're just going through a strainer. The first one's got big holes, that's the white belt to blue, and then people fall off at blue and purple and brown, and then there's just a few last people that made it to the black belt. And so yeah, white belt, you gotta survive. We have green belt. So green belt means you learn to defend yourself a little bit already. You can hold your own a little bit. You're not getting submitted 15 times around. You know to keep your elbows in. You know to shrimp and get your guard back. That's green. And then once you get to blue, you've got like a solid understanding of defending yourself. Maybe you got a couple little sweeps here and there. And who knows? Maybe a guard pass. You know? But you got things that you're interested in. You start to find, X guard's cool, this thing's cool, whatever. This guy kicks my ass a lot with this one, so I want to try that. Stuff like that. And then you play with it. But you shouldn't be like you're like a specialist. You're like, I'm a leg locker. No, what the fuck? No. You're a blue belt. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. I heard someone else call it like the buffet belt. Like you're just taking things in. Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit here, a little bit there. See what I like. Mm-hmm. Now you got to purple belt. Now you've been defending a little bit. You've been attacking a little bit. You got some white belts you can beat up on. Maybe you're starting to handle the green belts and stuff like that. And you start to find the things that are working for you a little bit. You start finding what's working for you. You start to play with the game. Maybe you like to sleeve lapel. If it's no-gi, maybe you do have a heavy like ashi game. If you're with me, you got heavy back takes, leg locks, takedowns. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to take you down. Actually, no, I'm lying. Most of my guys pull guard.
Yeah.
I'm living in a dream with the takedown part. I'm talking about myself. All right, we're gonna be aggressive. Yeah. Whether they're aggressively taking you down or aggressively pulling guard, Jack. It's aggressive and it's first. That's what I like, first. All right, and then leg locks, back attacks. Mm-hmm. Leg locks, back attacks. Transitions. I'm always teaching you guys the neon belly transitions, step over transitions. Get them lost. right? That's how I teach my jiu-jitsu. But that took time to figure it out. It wasn't always like that. What I like to do, I used to like to do X guard all the time. When do you see me in X guard? I don't know. That used to be my first guard that I liked, X guard and butterfly guard. Never in butterfly guard. But I played with it. I played with it for a long time as a blue belt. I played with it. I played with X guard, and I still use them here and there for certain things. I gotta use them to get to Ashi and stuff like that. But that's when you start to figure that stuff out when you're purple. And then now, I guess where I'm at, brown, is sharpening up what you like to do. So right now, I like to scissor sweep. I like to scissor sweep to triangle. I like to set everything up off my scissor sweep. But it's like I gotta refine that. I gotta refine it to where I'm getting it to work on everybody. Not just the white belt, blue, purple, but it works on the brown belts. I can hit it on the black belts. That's when I'm gonna be ready, maybe one day when my coach decides to get the black belt. You've refined those things that you were getting your ass kicked by them when you were a white belt. You started to understand them enough to where you can defend your green belt. You start trying to do them when you're blue. You start getting better. You know what you like when you're purple. Now you're brown. You know what you like. You know what works for you. Get really good at that shit. Now you get your black belt. Now you gotta start all over. Because now it's not about being good at your game. It's about learning jiu-jitsu. You did all this time. You found everything you didn't know. It's a big scary world out there. I'm gonna focus on this little part right here and stay safe. Boom, now you're a black belt. Good luck trying to just stay safe in one place. So you gotta do it all over again. And I used to hear that. Oh, black belt's like being white belt all over again. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then now that I'm moving up the ranks, bro, I am telling you that I get it now. I see it. I'm like, oh no. All of this work that I did was for me to start to understand jiu-jitsu. Now I'm doing jiu-jitsu. Maybe. I think so.
What the heck were you doing for the last 7 years?
Fucking around, Rex. Bullshitting. I was a kid fumbling around on the playground. That's what I was, Rex. It's tough. That's why I'm telling you that the more that you move up the rank, it humbles the shit out of you, because you realize how much you didn't know and how much there still is to learn. It makes you shit yourself. When I got my blue belt, I'm like, hell yeah, I've been ready for this. When I got my purple belt, the fuck? Been ready for that. Where's my black belt? When I got my brown belt, I was like, whoa, shit. I'm brown belt. Damn. That's crazy. And I look at rolling with black belts different. Oh, they fuck me up now, black belts. I used to think, man, that's the other thing in jiu-jitsu. Your coach, your upper belts, if they're proper with you, you're going to think you do shit to them. You're going to think you did something to them. And one day, you're going to be like, my coach got way fucking better. What the fuck happened? And what happened is that you got better, and they had to take it a little bit more seriously and fuck you up a little bit more. And I mean, I was a blue belt running my mouth, fucking, oh, I did such and such to such and such and blah, blah, blah. And then now I'm a brown belt and they're kicking my ass. And I'm like, oh, they were playing. I'm a dumbass. I was really fighting hard. I really thought I was doing that. And they were just training. Wow. Blows my mind. Still. Because I swear, I was the same. I went through that. I had my phase of thinking, I'm the shit. And then I realized, no, they were helping me along. They were moving me along. I have a roll where I get tapped out 3 times in one roll, and I'm like, I love this. This is wonderful. And I mean that for real. I really do. It's fun, man. That's like, because I know I get carried away with myself. Like, I used to really be shy and upset, and I started to train, and I got to a point where I get carried away. I believe in myself too much sometimes, like, to where, like I said, I'll go to a match overly relaxed. But then, like, I'm training, and some days I'll get caught in that same overly relaxed feeling. And, like, my coach John taps me out 4 times with a foot lock and stuff like that. And we're brothers, man. We fuck around. We have fun. But still, like, we'll have a day where I'm like, I realize, like, oh, he's gonna tap me out as many times as he wants today. And that's just what it's gonna be.
Or, like you do to me sometimes, you won't tap me out, but you just toy with me and just dump me into like 1,000 positions, and I just get folded into a press and I have just no idea what's going on.
Or, like, you know, sometimes I'll get lucky and I'll get to my position too. And I mean, that's gonna happen as you progress, and as you get your students better. Like, I'm not a coach that gets upset if my student passes my guard or chokes me or something. I'm happy, especially if they did it technically the way that I showed it. I'm like, awesome, good job, I love it. If they did it the right way, if they did some bullshit, then I mean, I'm not gonna be happy about it. And they might think, oh, he's not happy because I beat. No, I'm not happy because you did some bullshit. I'll be happy when you, like, take me down, choke me out, but do it right. Don't muscle it. Don't fucking be crazy with somebody, you know, because it goes back to the same thing. We're all different sizes. We're all different. So I can't roll with you the same way I roll with Jack, the same way I roll with Carlos, or the way I roll with Yogi. It needs to be different.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to be able to gauge themselves on who they're rolling with, how they're rolling, and be able to help each other to progress themselves too, because everybody's not on the same level of progression. And if I just use you as a dummy, then you're not gonna get any better, and I'm not gonna get any better. That's the thing people don't realize, because if one person, or if the whole, if one person is just relentlessly beating everybody, the other people aren't getting any better, and that person is not going to get better because the people that he's beating are staying the same.
Yeah.
So no one's going to get better that way. So that's where my wrestling coach used to always say, you're only as good as your worst training partner.
Ooh.
And so it doesn't matter. You could be a superstar all you want, but this guy over here needs help, so you got to fucking help him. And I always try to keep that in mind with the guys. And oh man, as much as it hurts me, you know, we've been having an issue with that, but let's not do that on the podcast.
No, that's an off-camera topic.
Yeah, let's not do that on the podcast.
So
I apologize.
Let's see, 2 things. Okay, I'll go with this one. So it's interesting that you talk about all this, the story you told me about how the coaches bring you up, how, you know, it's important to not smash people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reminded of the first podcast that we did together. Let's Kickin' It episode 1. Back then it was called Chasing Excellence. Yeah, that didn't last very long.
Yeah.
You told me how when you were coaching, people would come in and you would go very easy on them, and they would get pissed at you, and then they would leave. So then you learned that you had to kind of like smash and rough them up. Yeah. So like on the surface, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but some people might hear those 2 stories and be like, wait, he's saying A, but he's doing B. But I know that you're not, but I'll let you.
Yeah, that depends on the person. Mm-hmm. So, 2 examples. I'll try to keep it general. If I have a student who's maybe on the more like not as athletic side, doesn't have an athletic background, maybe this is their first type of physical activity they're doing. I'm not going to grab that person and flip them around and fuck them up and show them what can happen, because they're already scared of what can happen, most likely. So I'm gonna show them how much fun they can have and shit that they can do to somebody. I'm gonna make them feel empowered and like, I can do this. Whereas someone who may have more of an athletic type of back, and I hate to have to use athletes because like I know not all athletes are like this, but just the general idea of like a jock type personality is very like the locker room type of dude.
Beats my chest.
Yeah, you know, that type of dude is not going to appreciate me kind of just rolling around with him. Mm-hmm. And that was the type of person who confronted me about that. It wasn't like a regular type of like, I'm here to learn to defend myself. It was like that type of like alpha type personality that felt, I guess, I don't know if it was disrespected or just felt maybe they just wanted to feel the challenge themselves. I'm sure it was the second one. They saw me rolling that way with someone else who was more experienced, and they're like, I want that. I want to feel that challenge. I think that's what it was. But that's a certain type of person that wants that. And I'm not gonna push anyone to that. Like, if they want that, if they ask for that, I'll do that. Or if they're a wrestler, like sometimes I'm guilty. I am guilty of people coming in and telling me they're wrestlers, and I'm not going crazy, but I'm playing it safe. I'm not taking chances of getting thrown or hurt, because I've done it before and I've gotten slammed and I've gotten hurt because I was being nice and I was being careful with this new person, even though they told me they were a wrestler. So if you're a wrestler, I apologize. Maybe be clear about how much wrestling you've done, because I'm gonna make sure that I get you first if I can. And if I can't, I will be very happy that you're with us and hope you come back. But yes, I've had a couple times where I'm rolling with a wrestler and I realize I flipped this guy like 4 times. Let me chill out. But it's because I get excited. It's not a mean way. It's that I get excited of, there's a new wrestler here. Let's have fun. And then I'm like, ooh, maybe it's been a little bit since you wrestled. Let's ease up. Yeah, so no, for sure. You know, I try to start, and that's normally what I'll do. If a new person comes in, my default is they're going to play toe-touching game. Mm-hmm. And then if they're like, hey, you know, I'd done a couple months of Jiu Jitsu before, or I wrestled in high school, can I just roll? Now I'll be like, depending who it is. Again, if it's like a big giant dude, athletic dude, college athlete,
former NFL,
jump in there.
Yeah.
Go for it. Why not? Maybe I'll still be careful who I put him with. I won't put him with another new person. Mm-hmm. I'll put him with someone who has some experience if I can. Or I'll go with them myself. Like, we have enough people now, thankfully, that I can pair people up. But that's why, like, now I can take a day off of rolling. But before, I had to roll every time because certain people weren't going to have partners if I didn't. Mm-hmm. And stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I keep losing my train of thought.
No, you're giving me a lot of gold right now. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is actually one of my favorite conversations I've ever had.
Yeah.
So far, like,
yeah,
so dynamite. Good. Thank you so much.
Of course. But yeah, man, you know, so I think there's like I keep going back to, there's like a kind of, everything's a little bit subjective, and you gotta assess the situation. And I think that helps, man. It helps just in general life situations, to assess the situation. I used to be real bad at assessing situation. I used to just get angry real quick. If someone said something to me, I was ready to fight like that. But now, like I said, like this guy, if he would have said that to 16-year-old me, 17, even probably 18, 19, oh, definitely 19-year-old me, 19-year-old me would have slammed him on the street right there. Just because he said that he would rather fight me instead of fight a girl first, which is like, I don't care now. It made me laugh, but when I was 19, I'd have been very upset, and I'd have had to prove a point. I'd have had to prove a point and slam this man and probably go to prison or something. So
we don't need none of that.
You know, I feel like it's different. It helps you to be able to assess a situation and talk to people and stuff. And I don't know what it is about me. I'm a quiet guy, but people like to mess with me. But I'm not a hothead like I used to be. I can just laugh it off and like, okay, try to get my distance and stuff like that. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going way off track, but I worked in a nightclub, and one of the security guards one day at the end of the night, they would just hang out at the end of the night, in the parking lot. And this guy, I don't know, one night he decides he's making fun of me. Some people say he was trying to be friendly. I didn't like what he was saying about me. I didn't know him yet personally. I just started the job. We weren't in a similar section. We didn't talk much, so I didn't really know him. My only interaction with him was he asked me what nationality I was, and I wasn't his nationality, so he looked at me funny. And that was our first interaction. So, you know, I'm already distrustful of this guy because he treated me different right away. And he's like making fun of me, making jokes. And I tried to tell him, like, I don't know you like that. Like, don't disrespect me. He's like telling me I don't do my job right and stuff like that. And I didn't like that because I take whatever I'm doing very seriously. So if I'm guarding this door that people aren't supposed to walk out of, I'm not freaking letting people walk out of this door. At the same time, if it's a woman, I'm not going to put my hands on her. So I did have that issue. Sometimes a woman would just walk past me and go, but I'm not going to grab her. No, that's how I'm going to get freaking, again, in prison. Not trying to do that. So, you know, so yes, okay, occasionally I let someone slide by. But for the most part, I took it very serious. So I didn't like him making fun of me. And I tried to tell him that. And he kept on going, blah, blah, blah. And he's drunk probably and messed up. And, you know, it's the end of the night. Again, 19-year-old me probably would have beat his ass in the parking lot. He wouldn't have left the parking lot. But I walked away. I like gave everyone else a handshake. I'm like, have a good night, guys. Walked away. And he's still running his mouth. And I just fast walked all the way back to my car. And then like the next day, like my boss is like, hey, like, I'm sorry about like such and such. He's like, I told him he owes you an apology, and he's very lucky that you spared him his health. And I started laughing. I'm like, I don't want to hurt anybody, man.
Yeah.
Everybody at my job, that's part of the reason I did not like working there. It was a lot of pressure. Everybody wanted to see me fight. Everybody. They're like, they thought, like, I don't know what they thought was going to happen. But once everyone started to hear stories, thanks to certain people that knew me from training and such, everybody thought like something insane was going to happen the day that someone tried me. But no, people tried me a lot. And most of the time, I would just talk to them. And I'm like, bro, like, chill out. Let's not do this. Like, people would be like, oh, what, you gonna fuck me up? And I'm like, I can, but please don't make me. Like, let's just smoke your cigarette over there. Do it over there. I don't want to hurt you. And that's kind of how I was. Like, I didn't like to hurt people and stuff like that. And that's like, you know, that's what I was talking about in the very beginning of being a nice person and not doing that to people. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what they have on them. And our skills, okay, I can fight, I can fuck you up, yeah, but if you want to shoot me, I can't do anything.
We lose to guns and knives easily.
Oh gosh, that almost makes me cry again because it gives me a flashback to when I was a kid, man. I used to get into a lot of fights, and man, all right, I'm gonna say it. So this teacher, his name was Mr. Lazala. He was a good dude. I used to always go talk to him at school. He was one of the first like adults that I would like open up to, and I used to get into a lot of fights, and I was just dumb. And like he asked me one day, I got into a fight, and he's asking me why did I get into the fight, and I'm like, because the guy's a bitch. That was my reason. And he told me, like, who's gonna be quicker to go and grab a gun and shoot your ass, like someone like you or someone who's a bitch? And I mean, to be real, it scared me, because he's right. And he told me, you're not Superman, you can't dodge a bullet. And it was I mean, it was shocking. I was what, 12, 13 maybe, and he told me that.
That's real.
And he's like a little New York Dominican dude too, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. But yeah, it was something that I needed to hear, because it changed my outlook on fighting at a time where I needed it, because I was getting into serious shit. Because I thought I was a bad dude and I could beat people's ass. But it's a very valid point. Something like that happened to me though when I was younger, because I got into a fight, and this guy and his friends, they came back with the gun, and I mean, everybody was pretty young. I ended up getting pistol whipped and stuff like that on the head, and it was a big deal at school. Like, there was police and everything, and that was like one of the first times where my mom like really kind of knew that I was getting in trouble like that, because I used to hide it. But yeah, when he told me that was a very valuable lesson that I still hold on to today. I mean, I don't like to speak on people's situations. I don't know him personally, but like Leandro Lowe, he got into a fight in a bar, and the guy shot him. And he did what I would have done. If I would have had to fight somebody in a bar, he did what I would have done. And I'm emotional, so I'm probably gonna fucking cry, but he held the guy down until he chilled out. The guy's telling him to let him go, and he's like, we're done, right? And the guy's like, yeah, we're done. And the guy stands up and shoots him. So it's like, it's not, you can't fight. It's not worth it. Because he did what I would have done. I wouldn't have wanted to hurt him or do something to him. I would have thought I controlled the situation. I mean, I don't know. There's two different things I heard. One is that he stayed partying and the guy came back and shot him. One is that the guy stood up and shot him right there. If it was the second one, there's nothing you can do about it. If it was the first one, I mean, I at least would have left right away, not stick around. But either way, it's like, that's why you can't fight. That's why I didn't like that job, because people did get shot there and at the other places around there. And we had incidents, I mean, this is totally unrelated, but we had incidents of people security guards getting jumped and attacked outside of the club and stuff like that by people that got thrown out. So I used to get off of work and be walking to my car scared that someone was gonna try to jump me or something like that. Yeah, so you gotta avoid trying to fight people. Sorry, I went off track.
No, this is very important stuff that people need to hear, because there's a misconception that people have, oh, if I was an MMA fighter, if I was a Muay Thai fighter or whatever, Like, I'll
No,
fuck
it's
everybody
different.
up on the streets. I'm like, no.
No, it's different. And
people on the streets, like, there's
and
concrete.
people react to, it's the same like I said with Jiu Jitsu. People react to getting beat up differently. A lot of people aren't gonna be okay with that. But a lot of people aren't me that are gonna fucking train for the next time they get beat up or in a fight to be able to fight back. A lot of people are gonna go to the easy option of getting a gun.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, certain things. Yeah, if I didn't train and I got into a fight and somebody is on my back with their freaking heels in my balls choking me out, I'm gonna be scared. I'm gonna be scared.
Bro, in New York, I used to carry around a fucking knife that was about this big. Like, imagine
Bro.
something that sharp going through your fucking
Bro.
guts.
We used to do this drill where like one person has a knife hidden and we're rolling, and then Lane yells knife, and whoever had the knife pulls it out, and you don't know where you're gonna be positioned. Okay, I'm in side control with all of this shit exposed to get cut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No, it's even, man, it's bad, but like the amount of homeless people that's growing around here, I love to help people. Like I said, if I have $2 left, I'm gonna give them the $1 and I'm gonna use the other dollar for whatever I can. I might even give them the whole $2 and I'll figure it out later. But I even feel scared with them.
Yeah.
I feel scared. I seen a homeless person pull out a whole fucking samurai sword on somebody. Just a whole big ass fucking sword out of a pile of trash. That shit scares me.
Yeah, we lose that. It doesn't matter how badass you are. We lose that.
And just diseases and things like that. And it's you don't know what people have. And if someone is trying to start an altercation with you in a public area, they don't have things going well for them. I have scars on my hands from punching people in the mouth and stuff when I was a kid, where I feel blessed that I never got like hepatitis or like nothing nasty like that. Because man, it's not good, man. People's mouth are dirty, bro, and like that's something people don't think about. Getting to a street fight, if you punch someone in their mouth, you're getting cut with their teeth. I have scars I can still see from people's teeth in my knuckles, and it makes me feel disgusting, to be honest, because I'm like, that's gross.
So I have enough time on these cameras for one last question.
Yes.
And this is one thing I definitely want because it relates to everything that we just discussed. How do you feel about those people who sell women's self-defense courses or do this and you will win every street fight? You know, this whole self-defense industry. I'm not talking about martial arts industry. Like a specific person from Detroit. People like that.
So I don't like to be a hater, bro. If you haven't noticed, that's not how I like to be.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about the industry.
But I won't say there's no value in what they're trying to get across. What I think is that, like anything else, it needs to be practiced. You need to drill. You need to simulate that experience as best as you can. Obviously, it's going to be tough with some of the situations that they're talking about. But if you really want to be prepared, that's the best way to be totally prepared for those type of situations. It's kind of silly. I know everyone can't control where they're at all the time, but something that I ask, like I've had women take a private from me, and she's like a little tiny, like pretty girl, and she's asking me like, oh, what if a guy grabs me from behind like this? And my first question is, where are you going that you're worried about that? What are you doing? And that might sound wrong. People might get upset. Tampa Muay Thai Jiu Jitsu is canceled. Hurricane Mondo's done before it got started because I just said that. But it's true. And I'd ask a man the same thing. Where the fuck are you going that you're worried about this? Are you Batman? What, like, why? Why do you need to know how to take? Because my coach, he taught he does lessons. He's Krav Maga certified. He's certified in all types of shit. He trains with officers and all types of people, and he trains that shit. And he tells you, it doesn't. You can have all the training that you want. It's still gonna be a very certain type of person that in that moment you have a gun to your fucking head. It's a certain type of person that's gonna react in the way to fucking take that shit away. Like, that's, bro. Come on. My coach is trained in that shit. And the one time he got in a situation like that. He had on like a watch he didn't want to give up. He gave up his watch. He gave up his shit. Did it cross his mind to take? Probably. But he knows that at the end of the day, like, that's very likely not going to happen. So at the end of the day, you got to try to avoid that shit. You got to be aware of where you're at. And again, like I said, I know people can't always be aware of where they're at. Or no, not that you can't be aware of where you're at, because you can. But they don't have control. Obviously, if you live in a low-income and dangerous area, it is what it is. But the awareness still, that you could be aware. If I'm going to the gas station in the hood and I see 30 people outside, I'm going to a different gas station. Not going to stop at that gas station. Or even if there's no one, but there's one creepy person over there, I'm still not going to stop. I'm probably less likely to stop because now there's no one to see what might happen. So you got to be aware of where you're stopping, what you're doing, shit like that. And I mean, fuck, that's awareness, man. That's I mean, you can learn that from martial arts too, but I mean, man, to me, that's, you got to have a little bit of common sense, man. You got to be aware of where you're at. You got to look at what you're doing. And I mean, in the off chance that you get caught off guard, I mean, you got to try to get help, in my opinion. I'm not gonna fight someone that has a gun.
No.
Call me what you want. I'm not gonna fight someone that has a gun. I'm not. I will. You do what you want. I'm sorry. I can't. I mean, not do what you want. There's a certain extent where I'm gonna have to fight. But if you're just trying to take my money I don't have, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I think it's cool to want to be prepared for those situations if you need to be, but I think you gotta like actually be prepared. Like we do jiu-jitsu. You can drill a double leg all you fucking want, but until you do it against a resisting opponent multiple times, it's not gonna come out in a fight. When someone tries to fucking grab you and fuck you or what. When someone tries to edit that one out. When someone tries to grab you and like assault you and like do bad things to you, if you haven't trained being attacked and taken down in a class, you're not gonna be able to do that in a real life situation. And even then, with so much training, it's still not the real thing. And like I said, it's gonna be a certain person that's gonna react the right way. And real quick, I mean, I'll just give a personal example. When I was still with my ex-wife one time, she was taking a shower and she didn't.
Don't mess with the water.
Oops, yeah. I apologize. Sorry, I'm a fidgety guy. I will mess with my string. So she was in the restroom taking a shower or something, and I went to like poke my head in to say hi, and she didn't realize that I was home. And
oh no.
So she got super scared, but it was funny because like most people think like, oh, like she would like attack somebody, but nah, she was like like curled up and literally froze, like was frozen.
And she's a blue
deer
belt.
in headlights. And she was a blue belt. She had like a few years of training and stuff. And so, you know, still when you get confronted with that real life scenario, she didn't know that it was me. She literally was scared.
Yeah.
She literally thought some man just walked, and she froze. Yeah, frozen, stuck. Even like after a little bit, like I'm trying to calm her down, she's frozen, panic mode. And I felt horrible. I felt so bad. But yeah, that's like a real actual one I experienced where like people freak the fuck out. You don't understand what's gonna happen. Like, you can train it all you want, but when you get hit with that I'm gonna die right now type of situation, it's like, that's, I feel like it's different. It even makes me feel fucking, I mean, I've been doing 13 years and I feel fucking scared talking about it and stuff like that. I mean, as much as I talk about confidence and stuff, part of that is also being aware of where I'm at. Like, I'm not in a situation where someone's gonna fucking try to kill me, try to shoot me and stuff. I go out of my way to avoid that. Like, there's no point in being in that situation. Yeah. I'm not a police officer. I'm not someone that I'm not Batman. I wanted to be Batman one time. I took a 4D combative seminar. It was like a knife and gun defense seminar, and I thought I was gonna be Batman, but no sir.
Yeah, I think no, if you look at humans evolutionarily, how we were built, if you dump us into the animal kingdom, there's a reason why our legs are so much more powerful than our arms. Because what are our legs good for?
Oh yeah,
running away.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I tell people,
we survived.
You know, you gotta get away. Yeah. You gotta get away. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta get away. Like, you have to get help. Like I said, if someone's really you gotta get somebody. Like, I had a time where I was getting jumped by 6 or 7 guys. It doesn't matter how much I might have fought. I can't fight 6 or 7 guys. I fought one dude so I could run away and get help, but the other guys are hitting me. They're kicking me. They're fucking me up. I took one guy down. That was a mistake.
Yeah,
that was a mistake.
Because that the other guy's just turning up on you.
I'm on the ground now. I'm getting kneed. I'm getting kicked. Like, that was a huge mistake. So like, I had to run away. I had to run. Other people called the police. I couldn't. I was running. They took out knives and guns. I was running. I was just running. I ran to the front of the store. I ran to another store. I was screaming, help, help. What else are you gonna do? Fucking kung fu kick. Nah.
All right. Thank you so much for all of this.
Yeah,
this
of course.
Amazing.
I'm sorry that I'm scatterbrained.
No, this was amazing. Any closing statements? Anything you'd like to say? About anything we talked about?
No, I wish I had something good to say, but not right now.
Well, you just had an hour and a half of really good stuff to say.
Yeah, I wish I had a little powerful ending right there, but no.
All right.
I appreciate it, though. It was good.
Let's try it. Give me a good fortune cookie right now. I'm cracking this paper open. What does this paper say?
What does this paper say? It says... let's see. Well, I'll be real emotional. Oh. You have strength within you that you haven't found yet.
I feel like you were saying that to me specifically.
That's to anybody, but it can be for you, Rex.
Damn. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Fuck. Damn. This was such a good conversation, and I'm upset because I feel like we could have gone like